This is the 2019 Ford Mustang GT Performance Pack Level 2. And I'm going to tell you why this is the most underrated Mustang ever. Okay, the 2019 Mustang GT Performance Pack Level 2.
Daddy,
This
Carol just took a picture. I didn't press the button.
Brooke, I'm filming. This is the most performance-oriented Mustang GT you can buy out of the factory. It's pretty much as close as you can get to the Shelby GT350 of this same era Mustang. Now this is a S550 Mustang. That is the body style that started in 2015 and goes currently through 2020 as of now. This is April 2020. This is a excellent performance-oriented sports coupe, pony car, muscle car. A Mustang's kind of in its own right. It's its own unique car. Call it what you will, but this car is phenomenal. So you might be saying to yourself, what is the Performance Pack Level 1 and Performance Pack Level 2? Well, let's find out. Let's start under the hood of the Mustang GT. Ah! 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 A little monkey's coming after me. Under the hood of the 2019 Ford Mustang GT is the Coyote V8, the 5.0 liter. This has 460 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. The previous version had 435 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, I believe. But this is the standard power plant for the Mustang GT currently, and it is a phenomenal engine. I just wish they would get rid of this UFO-looking cover here and actually show you what the engine actually looks like. Kind of like the cover they had on the previous S550 which I happen to have owned. I had a 2016 GT Performance Pack 1. It was not a premium, it was the base model, but it was bright red, which was my #1 color for a car, and especially a Mustang. And that thing was great, but this engine is that much more greater. It's faster, has a higher red line. This red line goes up to 7,400 RPMs, I believe. The old one was, I don't know exactly. It was probably about, it was in the 6s, I think, or right at 7. But just being able to go that much further is really exhilarating, especially with the newly tuned exhaust. This exhaust sounds a lot better than my previous one. A lot throatier, a lot louder. This doesn't have the active exhaust, but it is louder just the way it is from the factory. It actually sounds really nice. Got a bunch of people that think this parking garage is where they should be racing. But anyway, what else are you gonna do during a pandemic, right? But then you get up to the GT, and it's a really fast car, but probably lacks a little in handling and braking. It's kind of the Grand Tour. That's what GT stands for, right? So when you move up to the Performance Pack Level 1, they upgrade your tires and wheels. You get the Brembo 6-piston calipers up front. You get a different aluminum instrument panel. You get heavy-duty front springs. Here you can see the difference in the paneling. You get a K-brace that helps stiffen up your chassis. You get a Performance rear wing, which this one has a different one. This is the Performance Pack 2 rear wing. You get a silver strut tower brace right here that says Mustang GT on it. That helps stiffen up the front end a little bit. You get a Torsen differential, rear differential with a 3.73 axle ratio with the manual and 355 if you have the automatic. It also comes with unique chassis tuning, unique ABS stability control tuning, and an upsized rear sway bar. So you're asking yourself, well, that package costs $39.95 in addition to the standard Mustang GT price. What makes the Performance Pack 2s, which is $2,500 more on top of the regular Performance package? Well, for one, instead of the 255 4019s up front and 275 4019s in the rear, you get Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, 305 30 ZR19s all around on this baby. The wheels are 10.5 inches wide up front and 11 inches in the rear. These are the widest tires and tire and wheel combo you can get on a Mustang GT from the factory. These are the same sticky, grippy tires that come on the Mustang Shelby GT350R. Look at how sticky these tires are. They pick up every little pebble on the road. It's actually can be a nuisance. It can pick up gravel and you know, hit this area right here, kind of scratch that up, but that's, I think, why they didn't paint these. But these tires are incredibly sticky summer tires. They give it so much grip and handling in addition to what it already can do, and that's part of the reason why it handles so good and why they put it on the Performance Pack Level 2. So another thing you get is a larger radiator, and one thing I noticed on the Performance Pack 2 is you got a larger opening here. It starts out here and goes to here. On the even the Shelby GT350, I noticed there's a little bit smaller opening in its front grille, and you also have an opening down here. One other thing that distinguishes the Performance Pack 2 from any other GT or Mustang basically is this extra front splitter. This is where the Performance Pack 1 and regular GT would be, and they add another lip just to give you that more added bit of downforce on your front end when you're out there high speeding. Another thing that adds to the handling is the MagnaRide suspension. The MagnaRide dampeners on this thing not only enhance the way it rides better than the standard dampeners, but they adjust with milliseconds to soften or stiffen the ride as need be for handling purposes on the racetrack. I have not had this out on a racetrack, but I can tell you from driving on some curvy, windy, bumpy roads, it does adjust and it makes the car feel more planted. So these wheels and tires alone added on to the Performance 1 package, they're worth alone that extra $2,500 on top of what the regular Performance Pack costs. That's a pretty good deal. Once you price this thing out, it's you know, if you keep it base, this one is a premium. We'll go over the interior here in a second, but that adds a little more to get the 401A package, giving you a much nicer interior. You get this right here, lights up where it says Mustang, and a few other features. But you can price this out like this one. This is pretty much top line. The only thing it's missing is the active exhaust, really. And it's still way less than your base Shelby GT350. Of course, you get a whole lot more with that, with the Tremec transmission, the differential coolers. Let's see here, we got the sticker for this right here. MSRP was $50,745, and they were offering some pretty good rebates on this. Got this thing down to about $42,000. That was pretty amazing. Well, there's 42 and some change. They added a few things on here I wasn't too happy about, but I was already getting so much off that price, I really couldn't complain. They really wanted to sell this. I got it in March of 2020, and it's a leftover 2019. I was really satisfied. I mean, they were willing to do anything to get rid of this car. If you followed any of my other videos, you'll notice I had a 2008 Mustang Bullet, which is the S197 body style Mustang, and I ended up trading it on this. I had an S550 before, and it just kept me missing the S550, and I wanted to get back into one so bad. And this one, I thought about a newer Bullet. They are really phenomenally nice. I did a review on one of those and got paid actually to take a test drive in one of those by Ford. It was really nice. They really want to push their product, and they excel at customer service. So kudos to them. It worked. I got another Mustang, but this one I had to go with the Performance Pack 2 with all the handling features. I always wanted a Shelby GT250. That was kind of the goal, but the prices on those are just, you know, it's just that much more for you know, our budget and what we're trying to do. And this made more sense. It's less money, but it's an awful lot of performance. And there's just something I like about the standard GT Mustang, and it's the sound, the 5.0 Coyote engine. I've loved the Mustangs, the Mustang GT 5.0s ever since I was a kid. My dad had a 1984. So the Performance Package Level 2 is a great bargain, great performance for the money. The Mustang GT is a great value, great performance car for the money as it is. Some people think, you know, $50,000 for a Mustang, that's incredible, that's insane. You know, especially since it's not a Shelby, but this is pretty much as close to a Shelby as you're going to get in a Mustang GT. And not only that, but it's still probably a little bit more daily drivable than a Shelby is. This is, although made for the track, it also is great for daily driving, great for grand touring. That's the GT name in it. So here's the interior of the Mustang GT Premium. You get a lot of nice features with this. The Premium gives you a much nicer laid out interior. The surfaces aren't as hard. I mean, I'm not too partial. I don't care if they're using, you know, hard plastics. I mean, the money's going to the performance in this thing, but they do give you some stitching, some softness to the texture. The steering wheel is really nice. It's revised for the 2018 and above. It's got a little thicker wheel, but the wheel is still fairly small, so you can turn really fast. Go ahead, give it a little power here. So you can see the dash lights up. This is the digital dash that is a new feature for the 2018 and ups. These used to be your analog speedometer, analog tachometer was here, and you had a digital display in the middle. But they took that one step further and just gave you a full center console with it like that. The 401A package. This comes with premium floor mats. These floor mats, a little bit dirty here, but they are thicker than the standard ones. You get voice activated touchscreen with navigation. This is the Ford Sync 3 for 2019. 2020 they upgraded, which is really nice. The Ford Sync, I think Chrysler has a little bit better setup, kind of the one we have in the Ram Rebel, but this is really nice. We also have this in our 2016 Ford Expedition, but it's been a little bit revised. It does have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, so you can use that. But the nav on this is pretty cool. The you know, comes with various apps. Got travel links so you can see the weather, phone, climate. I really like how it's laid out. I like that this has a large screen, not like the tiny one that the my old S550 had. I'm going to start it up here so we can change the different drive modes and show you how the screen changes. First we see that, let's see here, this is in normal mode. By toggling this switch right here, you can change your drive modes. This is normal. They have a My mode, which you can customize, and you can see I've already got the dash changing there, which is the same as in Sport Plus mode right here. So you get a little bit, the tack goes across the top there, which is kind of the hybrid between normal and this is track mode. Which I like, because it's just kind of straight to the point. Your speed is much larger here, and it's just a number. The tack goes across the top. So this is you know, the whole digital dash when it came out. I love electronic gadgets, especially in automobiles. I grew up watching shows like Knight Rider, Airwolf, and they had the dashboards look like cockpits, but this was the 80s, and they made them look insane. And I always wanted like a digital speedometer, and now you get that. You can make it look like that, or you know, bring it back to a little bit more normal look. We also have a wet and snow mode in case you're ever out. I hope you're not out taking this thing in the rain and snow. I haven't really had out in the rain yet. I'm kind of just nervous to get these Cup 2s out there with the rear wheel drive, but it would be a good chance to test out the wet and snow mode. So this is the interior. It was optioned with the Recaro leather seats, not just the Recaros, but the leather trimmed ones. Very expensive option, but these seats are phenomenal. These seats are just insanely comfortable, and I think they're better quality. They don't have heating or cooling because they're Recaro, and yes, they're manual adjustment, but you kind of want that. You want to be able to adjust it on the fly, you know, if you're racing or getting ready to go out on the track. Sometimes the power ones I find are really slow. I had those in my 2016 Focus RS. They were power Recaro seats, which those were just insanely uncomfortable. But I've noticed in the regular GT leather seats, this part gets kind of warped and you don't really seem to have that here. This is very, very tight in here, but still very comfortable. And they breathe. I thought they would be really hot, but they're not. They breathe really well for leather. I mean, they're perforated. So I did upgrade the shift knob on this to the Ford Racing cue ball style shift knob. I really like having cue ball or just a ball shift knob. It just seems to grip it better. It's just easier to grab. It's nothing wrong with the old one. It was a round shift knob and had leather mixed in with that, but this one is just that much more. It's kind of like the one that comes in the newer Bullet Mustangs, which is white, and I kind of wanted that, but in here, and you know, that's something you can just upgrade. So here you got a little cubby. It's great for putting you know, phones, gear. To demonstrate how cramped the back seat is in these, let's move this forward. About 6 foot, 6'1".
Want to close the door? Sure.
Sure. Well, I fit. See, this is how cramped it is in the back seat here of this thing. The seat is like all the way forward. You know, if I slouch down, I got room, but if I sit with my bottom all the way in the seat, it, you know, my head doesn't, I would hate for, you know, to hit this glass. So, you know, here's the seat belt. Yeah. So this would be, you know, but am I doing a pinch to take your 6'1" adult friends back here? But you really wouldn't want to be back here. And I don't know how I would fit behind myself, because you can see this is how much room I had to adjust it to give me room here, and there's just nothing there, and that's how I would adjust that seat. My daughter fits here. I scoot this up a few inches, but yeah, it's not a family car, but at least you have a back seat. I mean, the Corvette, the 2019 Corvette Stingray I reviewed, didn't even have a back seat. It has a bigger hatch area, but you know, at least my daughter here likes it because she can at least ride back here. Now we're gonna go for a little drive. All right, we're gonna go down this back road and see how she does. Here we go. Well, somebody didn't like that. One thing we didn't look at, the trunk space in the 2019 Mustang GT. To open the trunk, there's a button down here underneath the, right above the license plate. So you push that, that pops it open, and voila, it's actually pretty decent trunk space considering how low to the ground this car is, how aerodynamic it is. This thing, quite a bit of trunk space. The opening's not so great, so I mean, you can't get like the biggest things, but I think they maximized that as much as they could. The engineers did. So here's your trunk. Seat does fold down if you need to put something in there big, you know, long. You don't get a spare tire. It is kind of disappointing to me. Anytime a tire's gone flat or blown out on me while driving, it's not something I could just use a compressor like this and fix a flat. And look, they give you a little thing here to help put a gas into the gas tank if you happen to run out of gas and need to get a gas can full of gas to put in your car while you're stranded. So that's nice at least. It looks like, you know, there was room to put a spare in here. Maybe the base model has that, you know, with the taller size wheels and tires. The one thing with this is the brake rotors in the front are so big that most spare tires wouldn't even fit over this thing. You'd have to have the right size wheel to give you enough clearance, especially for that gigantic Brembo brake caliper. These things are massive. Here you can get a better look at the tread, how wide that tire is, and how sticky it is. I mean, there's just anything sticks to it. It's amazing. I'm getting these little like chips in here with rocks that are sharp enough, but I guess that's just how they're supposed to be. One thing I'd like to point out about the digital dash, I noticed on some reviewers, like Doug DeMuro, for example, thought it was a little bit ridiculous that the new Mustang would show your full readout of RPMs. Well, they have a way you can change that. If you happen to not like that, you can go into your advanced settings here by pushing the settings button on the steering wheel. Go in here to display setup, and you go to tachometer display, and you can change it to gear, and now it'll show the gear you're in. Like now I'm in neutral, first, second, third, all the way to 6. So that's probably a setting I'd put it on if I was at the track, to be honest, but for normal driving, I kind of like having the full-on tack. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, the Performance Pack Level 2 Mustang GT is just phenomenal. There's not much else I can say. It drives amazing. It's a dream to drive. It really is. I mean, everything about it. Handling, speed, braking, just the sound, the joy of going through the gears. It's awesome. It holds you. You just feel so good driving it. Kind of surprised. It doesn't seem like there's too much press out there about this car, or that there is, but when you see it for sale, there wasn't that. I mean, they were offering discounts as if they weren't selling. They're sitting on car lots. Maybe it's just too much performance for most people, especially with the tires that aren't supposed to last very long because they're really sticky, and they, you know, they're not made to last. So you'll end up having to replace them or buy another set of tires to be your daily driver tires or whatnot. But man, it's a lot. I prefer the Magna-Ride alone. That helps with how it handles and how it feels, and it's just. This is my dream car. This is outright my dream car. I mean, I'm so grateful that I have this, and I'm glad I could be able to review it for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you like this content, like and subscribe. Everybody have a good one. Take care.